So, with such an emotionally driven story and the characters, the themes, it's refreshing to have so much to talk about in a big summer blockbuster.
Absolutely.
I was wondering what the most important aspects of Dawn were for you that wanted you to return to the role of Caesar.
I think what was really important to me was that Caesar ultimately, as a leader, was an empathetic leader, and yet he's so conflicted, and the empathy is both a blessing and a curse, really, and the complexity of that. In that, of course, he'd grown up with human beings and has a particular worldview about human beings, and still has love for them. But that's unlike any of the other apes that he's surrounded with, and particularly some of the other apes, particularly Cobra, whose worldview is completely different. But it was, I wanted to play him as a leader that was, to see that strain of what it is to be a world leader, or in terms of his world, the pressure on him, and also to balance that with what it's like to be a family ape, to have a family and have all of that pressure going on. It is. I mean, this film is very much about family and prejudice and empathy. I think those are the real themes of it. And the great thing that I think that Matt managed to achieve was to lay blame on either side, and to keep it very well balanced so that you do respect everyone's worldviews, whether they be human or ape.
And a lot has changed for Caesar since Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I wanted to find out how you think he's dealt with the challenges faced by the simian flu and how he's got to where he is in Dawn.
It was very important to Caesar when he set up the community, the ape community outside of San Francisco, as the humans seemed to be sort of disappearing and the lights seemed to be dimming and they weren't coming back. He wanted to create a society that was based around respect for all apes. So he was dealing with a disparate group of apes, gorillas, chimpanzees, orangutans, who traditionally wouldn't necessarily get on with each other, but he wanted to find a way of galvanizing them, and that was through language. And one of the tenets of belief that he tried to instill in the others is knowledge is power, and apes together strong. So we spent a long time evolving a commonality, a kind of through language. So everyone had learnt their own ape vocalizations, and then in this big ape camp that we had before shooting started, we did these long extended improvisations where the hierarchy was established, and Caesar would teach them sign language, and then it was how to translate that into an ape version of that, and then how to first start using human words, and so on and so forth.
I feel like Caesar's the conscience of the film, and he has everything that you'd want any living creature to be, I think. How much input do you have in his character, and how do you feel towards him now?
Well, a huge amount of input, really. Obviously, it's through discussion with Matt, who I have to say was extraordinary. I mean, he is such a brilliant actor's director, and a lot of this stuff, it was, on every single take was nuanced sort of choices, and just pitching things slightly differently, trying to get a balance between Caesar's humanity and apehood, and all of those things. But it was very, very important to get that right, to get that journey right, to get Caesar's, and I have learned a huge amount from him. I mean, I wished I had his, the ability to genuinely listen to both sides and not prejudge.
And do you hope other people will learn from his morals?
I mean, I think again, he's not. I mean, He isn't not flawed. He's flawed. He isn't not flawed. He's flawed because as I say, the ability to empathise with human beings almost is, and at the same time think of his own species as being superior, is his downfall. And it's that, I mean, ultimately believing that apes were better than humans is his downfall, because he trusts one of his kind who clearly proves that that's not the case. And so it is. I think people can learn from Caesar in the fact that he tries to find a peaceful solution and the most difficult route, and not just taking the easy knee-jerk reaction, for sure.
And you're at the forefront of performance capture acting. What is it about the technology and the process that continues to engage you and inspire your creativity?
It's just the most liberating tool for an actor, because it does mean that you can play literally anything. You can climb into the skin of any being, or whether it be even more so as the technology evolves, it can be more abstract. It doesn't have to be a humanoid character like an ape. But when you think about it, any actor, if they have the chops, if they have the ability to lose themselves within a role, whether they, you're not hemmed in by your size or your sex or your colour or your whatever. It's all about whether you can absorb and embody this, whatever it is you're playing.
And those intense fight scenes with Toby Kebbell as Koba, what were they like to film? Were there any injuries to report?
They were pretty brutal. I mean, we didn't hold back, and particularly the very first time Koba and Caesar go at each other, we made an agreement that we would definitely just launch into each other and take it as far as we could. But we knew ultimately we would try not to hurt each other. But we weren't going to hold back, and that first one was supposed to be very scrappy and absolutely out of control. So we had to kind of go with that. And I mean, Toby, Toby did suffer an injury, but it was so annoying and bizarrely on a day when it was just a sort of a rehearsal day when he went over on his arm extensions and ripped all his ligaments in his arm, but not during anything that was too violent, which is really annoying.
And finally, it looks like you've got a busy couple of years coming up. Can you tell us a bit about what's next for you, and is there going to be another Planet of the Apes?
Yeah, I mean, I'm right now in the middle of directing Jungle Book. So at the moment we're in pre-production, so we're designing all the characters and working on the script and casting and all that kind of stuff. So it's it's pretty full on, and there are a couple of other things going on at the same time. One of which is Star Wars, and it's a very, very busy time, but thrilling too.
I wish you the best of luck when the film opens across UK and Ireland. Thank you very much.
Cheers, thank you.